save on Tommy Novak, who has a chance to win it for Nashville. Zigzags in. Novak scores! Tommy Novak keeps the Predators' playoff hopes alive. And the Flames' playoff hopes come to an end.
Bit of a controversy last night in Alberta, for the Calgary Flames, who will not be going to the playoffs. This is interesting to see. The Daily Sports Podcast, news, narratives, takes, gambling, and yeah, just a bunch of bad, just internet stuff for you. NHL playoffs are coming up next week. It's the last week of the regular season. NBA playoffs start tonight, so let's talk about it. So the Flames, the Calgary Flames and the Nashville Predators, playoff hopes on the line for both of these squads, and we wake up this morning to criticism. Here's Ryan Whitney of Barstool Sports podcast fame. Quote, Daryl Suter has accomplished way more than I have, even sniffed in the NHL, but I'm sitting here in utter disbelief that Nick Ritchie went in a must shootout and Tyler Toffoli, the best player on the Flames this year by a mile, sat on the bench and watched his team's season end. So the Flames are eliminated from the playoffs, losing a shootout at home. Tyler Toffoli was not selected as a shooter. Best player on the team was not selected as a shooter, and that it wasn't just a useless game for Nashville either. They are on the bubble and trying to get into the playoffs. They're going against each other, obviously, for the wild card. So, Suter, who's been around, he's an old man. He won a Stanley Cup, plural, I think, with the Los Angeles Kings. He's one of those coaches, there are 3 or 4 of them, that are really great at young teams and just like getting the most out of them. But like when grown men are out there, they're like, hey, dude, fuck off. I'm not going to get yelled at by this guy that makes us a fraction of my salary, and who is never and will never be as good as me. So like that, and that happens. The NHL is about 15 years late to this revelation. The NBA is about like 5 years early to whatever's happening for player stuff. So the Suter's one of these old guys that just does whatever he wants like that. The old crotchety man. He didn't put his best player on the ice, and it wasn't. And shootouts are best of 3. They went to a 4th shooter. He still didn't put him out there. I would imagine that by the time people wake up in Alberta, Daryl will have been fired. Would be my guess. I'd fire him. Like, dude, what the fuck am I paying Tyler Toffoli for? To win games if he can't do it. In big moments, don't pick plays. Pick players. Duh. So the Flame season ends in hilarious, preposterous fashion. The NBA playoffs start tonight. Like, should we do the NHL stand? What has to happen for the NHL? Hold on. What has to happen for the Preds to get in? How close are they? The Predators, 80 games. So 2 games left. How many points they got? 90. Currently, the top 2 wildcard teams have, one of them has 100. So there are 3 teams jockeying for that final spot. Calgary, 1 game left, they're out. They can only possibly tie Winnipeg, who holds the spot right now. So if Winnipeg wins 1 more game, they're in. Nashville wins 2 more games, there. Okay, so it's coming down to it in the Western Conference. Okay, NBA playoffs start tonight. There's a picture of the playoff picture. You can kind of see it, whatever. It is the tournament thing that is very dumb. It starts tonight. However, is it not dumb? Perhaps. I have this headline here from NBCSports.com/Bay Area. NBCSports.com cracks me up. They're like 4 or 5 markets where they dominate, and the rest of it is just completely useless information. Like NBC Sports in Detroit is a joke. Denver, joke. Atlanta, joke. The Bay Area, Boston, and Philly, elite. They have elite sports stuff. So, but they did use this title in the headline, Dubs Kings Game. Dubs, as in Warriors. Shut up. Tristy Rodriguez. Dubs Kings Game 1, most expensive first-round game on record. Yeah, that makes sense. San Francisco is a hellhole of inflation and murder. Even CEOs of billion-dollar companies get murdered in San Francisco right in the street. It's not a conspiracy. I'm not going to perpetuate a conspiracy theory that the government had the guy knocked off. He was drunk at 2:45 in the morning in downtown San Francisco. You do that 10 days in a row and see what happens. Front Office Sports is saying that the game is, was there a number here? Mega expensive. Price to get in for Kings Warriors round 1, $222. The tickets are nearly twice as expensive in Sacramento as they are in Golden State. Interesting, because the Kings haven't been in. Get this. There's some interesting facts about the Kings. Haven't made the playoffs in like 1,000 years. More interestingly than that, ABC has been doing a weekly NBA game For like, I think the contract goes back to 2004-05, and I don't know why I remember that, but I definitely do. When like ESPN was like, hey, what if we just do it on like network television? So ABC's been doing like a weekly game in the NBA forever. The Kings, including playoff coverage and the weekly NBA game, have not been on ABC, network television. They have not been on America's Broadcasting Corporation, owned by Disney, since 2007. Really let that sink in. They have been by far the worst organization in professional sports. I often think that the Jaguars and the Lions and the NFL, maybe the Browns during a time, the Browns are different. They are maybe the worst right now for different reasons. I think there are some baseball organizations that are jokes because they don't want to win and they don't have a revenue sharing model, so they don't have to try to win. The A's, the Rockies, but the A's win occasionally. The Rockies have been to the playoffs. The Reds are a joke, and the Pirates are also a joke. They don't care. That's bad ownership. But the Kings, 2007, they haven't been on network television. That game is one of a few games tonight, one of two. The other, no, wait, that's tomorrow. Excuse me. No, never mind. I'm all sorts of confused. Look at the playing games. Okay, playing games start tonight. Warriors and Kings are in the first round of the playoffs. And by the way, just to make this clear, the Kings are by far the higher seed. They're going to get destroyed by the Warriors, obviously. But it's like the battle for Northern California. Sacramento is the border of Northern California and like actual Northern California. North of Sacramento is like where the real Westerners live. Let me tell you, like they would like to break away from not only the state of California, but like America. Sacramento's playing the Warriors. Great first-round matchup for them. Let's go into the play-in game. See, on the left-hand side of your screen right here where you're seeing, if you want to watch on Spotify or YouTube, number 1 seed. Then these things, they are hosting. I don't know what the green, and then the green, they win stuff. But the blue, this is the play-in tournament. So I think the Lakers get the Thunder and the T-Wolves get the Pelican. Is that right? Lakers get the T-Wolves. Lakers, T-Wolves. And the Thunder get the Pelicans. Okay, and then the winner of those get to do whatever. Games tonight. Your Atlanta Hawks and your Miami Heat against the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Los Angeles Lakers of LA. And LeBron, is he just a little too old to turn it on? Probably. The Timberwolves, one of their best players, Rudy Gobert, got suspended because, remember, he punched a teammate for telling him to shut the fuck up or telling him to block a shot or something. Hilarious. He got suspended for this game. Just amazing. That's tonight. So let's do some gambling information on the T-Wolves, Lakers, Heat, and Hawks. The reason I haven't been paying super close attention to this is because it doesn't matter. The NBA, there is no parity. None of these teams can win. I guess you could talk yourself into maybe the Lakers winning because they've got some A-list guys, but those guys don't shoot threes, so it doesn't matter. Miami favored by 5. I like Miami for one reason and one reason only. Well, actually 2 reasons. They have Jimmy Butler, who just wills his team to victory. And more importantly than that, I kind of think Eric Spoelstra is the best coach in the NBA. Like, I understand that Greg Popovich is still in the NBA and the Spurs are tanking, but I kind of think their coach is the best coach in the NBA. Lakers are 8-point favorites over the T-Wolves. I think they're going to win by like 1,000. This is going to be LeBron. I'm going to the playoffs, you know. 2 more games tomorrow, Chicago and Toronto, Oklahoma City and New Orleans. Wednesday, the real playoffs start. That's a week after, right? Why would there be dates when there could just be confusion on the internet? The NBA also does this thing. So Saturday, April 15th is when the playoffs start. The NBA does this thing where they lie about tip-off time to force you to watch the fucking pregame show, and I don't know how they convinced Google to also lie. Google should, when you Google it, it should just be like, what time does the game start? Not what time does ABC's hour-long pregame show start? Or TNT. So the Nets and Sixers are the first real playoff game to happen. That'll be Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Sixers are the 3 seed. The Celtics are the 2 seed, which is great because everybody wants them to match up in the playoffs, and nobody believes the Sixers can advance to the 3rd round, so they're on a collision course in the 2nd round. Saturday is when the real playoffs start. Playing games today, playing games tomorrow. Again, Lakers Timberwolves would be the interesting one to watch. It starts at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. No, thank you. Moving right along. Who wants to watch a really cool, perfect bunt? It happened in the Mets game, and it was spectacular. Here it is. Look at it. Look at it. No, that's not it. Never mind. That was a swinging bunt. This is the real bunt.
And he
Look at it.
Down a bunt that hugs the line.
Look at the bunt.
They stay fair. They let it roll, and it's a fair ball. Sweet. How about that?
So what you're supposed to do in baseball, if it does that, goes up the line like a nice bunt, you're supposed to just let it go because you're hoping that it goes foul. By the time you pick it up, the guy's already on first. And it just went back and forth from the line to the grass, from the line to the grass, and then it just stopped. Amazing. A little bit of baseball porn for you there. We're not going to do standings or any of that shit till June. Do not let me do that until June. Do not let me do that until June. It appears as if Shaquille O'Neal, who was involved in the FTX thing, is being sued by people for all of the same things that all the other celebrities are being sued. However, the servers of the subpoena for his suit have not been able to serve him, which is funny because he's on goddamn television. They have been trying to serve him for 5 months. Ironically, not only is he on television, he is perhaps the most recognizable human being in the Western Hemisphere. There is no chance that anybody born, at least after 1980, and probably even many millions of more people who are born before 1980, no chance that they would see Shaq and be like, I wonder who that is. And they'd see him. He's like 7'2" and about 350, 60, 80 pounds. He is maybe the most recognizable human being on the planet. Like if you saw him in any clothing, in any situation, you'd be like, oh, it's Shaq. And they can't serve him. Obviously, it would be pornographically funny, inappropriately funny, if he were served on live television. I don't know what I would do, but I would laugh my ass off. So we make fun of Live Golf for being broadcast on the CW. It turns out the Pacific Athletic Conference 12, the Pac-12 college sports people, are also in talks with the CW. They say in addiction recovery that you know when you hit rock bottom. Well, I think the Pac-12 is aware of that. Back and better than ever. Controversial Wednesday tomorrow.